ACL Nation, I hope you've recovered from the incredible weekend that was the ACL Final Chase and the ACL Pro Invitational. We're going to recap both of those events for you today, as well as sit down and chat with ACL Pro Scott Phillips coming off of his successful weekend representing the west coast of Cornhole. This is the ACL Throwdown. Yes, ACL Nation. Like I said, I'm going to have a conversation with ACL Pro Scott Phillips, so make sure you tune in for that if you're a big fan of Mr. Phillips. But first, my hashtag Treys Takes. I got to recap the incredible week that we had with the ACL Final Chase and the ACL Pro Invitational last week up at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, the last national of the year. It was incredible. Pro doubles division and women's doubles, the first broadcast that we had on July 4th. The ratings were through the roof. A monumental day for Cornhole. Sean Short and Jay Dotson smack talked their way to a victory in the finals, defeating Mike Lucas Jr. and Michael Dingus. A big win for them. Trey Birchfield and Brandon Corwin making a broadcast another time. Ryan Smith and James Washington getting their debut as well. A great semifinals and then finals we had in the pro doubles division. Kudos to Jay Dotson and Sean Short. But of course, I think the more monumental win has got to be for Rosie Streaker and Sam Finley. Kudos to you ladies. Anytime you're going up against a back-to-back-to-back champion, it is going to feel like you are an underdog. You're going to be under that pressure, but man, did they feel that pressure and ride through it. They had one of the best performances of the weekend as a team. Rosie Streaker and Sam Finley taking down the champs and emerging as women's doubles champions. So those two, I got to give kudos to. I also got to give kudos to Mr. Dave Sutton, who had a sneaky good weekend, winning advanced doubles as well as crew cup. Advanced doubles with partner Isidro Herrera, and crew cup with Trey Birchfield, Brandon Corwin, and Isidro Herrera. So a big win for those guys. And then that fast forwards me to Mr. Trey Birchfield, who had arguably the best weekend out of anyone. Wins the advanced blind draw with Matt Morton, wins Crew Cup, and wins Pro Doubles the next day on July 5th. That was our second ESPN coverage. He and Brandon Corwin win the Pro Invitational, taken down and emerging out of those 12 teams as the number one. They had to play their play-in game. They win their play-in game. They go on to win the Pro Invitational. Brandon Corwin gets the monkey off of his back, but really the story of the day is Trey Birchfield winning 3 events, an absolutely dominating weekend. It rivaled the weekend that Scott Lane, ACL Pro, had in Arizona at the Bag Brawl. Trey Birchfield has also taken the lead as far as money earned throughout the entire season. So we've kept track of that. We're going to wait until the end of the season to release that to you guys. But Trey Birchfield, the money leader going into the ACL Championship. So I can't wait to see who emerges as that money winner by the time the championships are over. We also had our Devour Man of the Year. First round was concluded. We had some upsets. We had some great games. The game winner by Derek King over Leston Allen. The maybe a not so upset if you ask him, but I think most people would consider it an upset Dave Morse over Adam Hister. And then in my bracket, kudos to John Kitchen for absolutely destroying my Man of the Year bracket, defeating Matt Morton in the first round. So, some big upsets there. Make sure you tune in to the final 16 at the ACL Championships for the Devour Man of the Year. That one's going to be a great tournament. And then finally, the last day, as always, our advanced singles division. And like I tried to predict, James Baldwin, man, he turns it on when the lights come on, the pressure comes on late in the season. Had an incredible win in advanced singles, taking down some heavy hitters. Guys like Josh Holland, who had an incredible run in advanced singles. James Baldwin comes out and puts the beatdown on in the semifinals, goes on to the finals to play Matt Morton. Matt Morton put up a great fight, won his semifinal match, but against Josh Kroos, but just not able to take home the victory. Has to go through a brick wall like it felt like with James Baldwin. The airmails were raining down for Mr. Baldwin. An incredible win for him and a great way to ride the momentum into the championships. Remember, guys, you can always go on our Facebook page and rewatch any of the broadcasts as well as our YouTube page. You can watch some of the reruns this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. We're going to show a replay of the pro doubles from the finals chase. So ESPN2, 1 p.m. Eastern Time this Saturday, so tune in. That's all the time I got this week for my Treys Takes. Let's sit down with Scott Phillips. He's going to talk about his big win at the Pro Invitational, couple games, and as well as everything else cornhole.
ACL Pro Scott Phillips coming off of a great performance at the 2019 ACL Final Chase, specifically the ACL Pro Invitational, taking down two of the big guns in the sport, advancing all the way to the semifinal, coming up just a little bit short, but losing to the champions, Brandon Corwin and Trey Birchfield. Scott, I'll jump right into it. Thank you for calling in, for chatting with me today. And I just got to ask you, man, you got to be happy with the weekend. You got to be fired up a little bit. I mean, how are you feeling right now about how the weekend turned out?
I feel pretty good. We peaked at the right time. Although if you take out that Pro Invitational, Blake and I didn't really play that well this weekend together. I think he went 3-2 in singles, and I went 1-2, and went 0-2 in pro doubles, and 1-2 in advanced doubles. But we had tough draws.
And it goes to show you, I mean, literally, you can do that and then turn around and beat two of the top teams in the country. Let's start kind of with that first game against Adam Hister and Cody Henderson. You talked a little bit, said you hadn't had a chance to go back and rewatch it yet, but that first game, and this was off air, nobody really knew what was going on. People were watching on the live stream, but, I mean, what was the mentality going into that game, playing against the top 5 team in the country? And then as the game went on and you guys just kept dominating, what was that experience like?
It's a funny story. We warmed up on those Devour boards right next to the ACL boards that were on the broadcast, and the Devour boards were a lot faster. And I noticed that. I made that comment to Adam. He went down and talked to Cody about it, but they didn't change anything. So we went over there, and we were throwing those game changers, and as soon as we got to the new boards, I started throwing slick side the entire time because they were like Velcro. And Blake was throwing a little bit harder than I was, but the entire game, Cody kept throwing short. His bag would check up and kick to the left, kick to the right, and Adam is sitting next to me muttering under his breath, "Wrong bags, man, wrong bags."
Yeah, the bag selection certainly played a factor there. And then fast forward, obviously, to the broadcast, the first ever West Coast team to get on a television broadcast. And I didn't say this to you beforehand.
That's not actually true.
On a television broadcast.
Well,
see, now
this is live, right? Because we did the same thing at the Link in Vegas like 2-3 years ago.
Right, ESPN3.
And I want to say Webster and the other guy from Arizona, Scott Webster and Team Bling, those guys.
Yeah, that was ESPN3, so that was just a digital broadcast. This is the first time two West Coast guys have gone on a television broadcast, and you beat me to the punch. I was going to bring it up that it's amazing how far, if I'm just looking at two guys like you and Doug Rippey, I remember watching you two at the link playing together, and how far you two have come. Not only you getting this win this year on the television broadcast, but Rippey earlier in the year getting a little competitive doubles win on ESPN3. It's amazing how far both of you have come. I got to say, what was that performance like if you're looking at it from the perspective of trying to represent the Western United States in cornhole?
It was pretty exciting. I know we talked about that before the game against Damon and Phillip. Well, after we beat Adam and Cody, we each looked at our phones and had about 30 text messages, and Ken Jones tried to call us right away, and it was just kind of like, all right, that just happened.
Yeah, it was so much fun to watch. That big shot that you hit, I'm about to get ready to clip that and post that on social media now. So I know that's one that you're gonna have in your back pocket for years to come.
I've already watched 120 times, I think. So.
So, talk a little bit more about that Pro Invitational. One of the things that just intrigued me and probably intrigued so many of our viewers is just the dynamic and the style of play and the interaction that you and Blake DeMail have during your games. So what are you and Blake like off the board? I mean, I know what you're like, but for the people that, don't know you and don't know you guys well, how similar are you guys on the court in comparison to off the court?
That's an interesting question. And Blake and I get along great. We room together, and we've obviously traveled, 4 times so far this year. So we have a pretty good feel for each other. But we haven't actually played together much before this season. I think there was one tournament in Vegas from that organization that shall not be named where we played together on a Slider Cup team and did very well. But honestly, we only ended up playing together this year because we were the only 2 West Coast players who qualified outright. So I just called him and asked if he wanted to do it, and we made a little run. But no, we have a lot of fun at these things. We go out and sing some karaoke and go gamble and
and have some fun. And I will say it'll be a forever quote in my mind, the "We are not underdogs" quote. One of my favorite parts of the entire broadcast was your reaction to Blake's comment that we are not underdogs. Just watching you react to that was one of my favorite parts.
No, Blake, he firmly believes that the West Coast can beat anybody, and I guess he's right.
You guys certainly proved it, taking down 2 of those teams. So we look forward to the rest of the season. And really the season's over, but we're just looking towards the championships. And you're going to be playing with Blake. We got singles, we got pro doubles, advanced doubles, whatever it may be. You got any goals in mind? Anything that you want to accomplish trying to put a bow on this first pro division season?
Well, yeah, we want to win, obviously. But, the last year at Cobb's, or actually, what are you guys calling it now? The
ACL World Championships. There you go.
At the ACL World Championships. So last year, I think I went 2-2 in doubles and 2-2 in singles. I want to improve on that, obviously. But making that broadcast again that's where we want to be.
Absolutely. And you'll be playing more than likely on the West Conference team, depending on how much of a team they can field together. And this time, you guys are going to have a full team. I think that's going to be an exciting part as well. You'll be able to play with a full 16 instead of,
the
6 that you guys had last year.
Well, we ended up combining with 5 or 6 different conferences last year, I think, and we were still short. So every match we had to punt 1 game. And memory serves, we kind of screwed that one up because, not thinking about it, everyone wrote down their top players for the singles match. So I play all the singles matches. My first 2 games were against Matt Guy and Frank Modlin. And if I had done that differently, we could have punted singles and just left him out to win somewhere.
Yeah, punted singles and then tried to test the luck somewhere else, for sure.
But no, I'm excited this year. It'll be fun to have a better, deeper West Coast team and see if we can head in with anybody other than Canada, who punted 2 games.
Yeah, Canada sending a full 16. Australia sending a full 16. So
No
definitely
kidding.
going to be it's going to be interesting to see those dynamics competing against some American cornhole. Well, Scott, I appreciate you sitting down, chatting with me. I know you're excited for the championships. I'm pumped up. Congrats, man. You deserve it. I know you've been working hard, you and Blake, on getting that win. I know you're not satisfied. You want to keep winning, but it's definitely a big win that you guys had this weekend. So thank you, and good luck.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
ACL Pro Scott Phillips, certainly one of our more unique characters here in the ACL. Thanks, Scott, for sitting down and chatting with me. We are less than 2 weeks away from the first ever ACL Charity Day. July 21st is going to be an incredible day. Myself, as well as the rest of the ACL team, we're going to be flying out to Los Angeles to host a ACL Pro Celebrity Pro-Am type event to benefit Stand Up to Cancer. It's going to be a great event. Can't wait for that. But also, if you're a player, if you're a director, we want you guys hosting some tournaments, raising money to benefit Stand Up to Cancer. So make sure you get those tournaments registered in the system. Or if you can't make a tournament and you still want to give back, there is a donate button on iPlayACL.com/charity day. So make sure to go check that out. That's all the time that we got this week for the American Cornhole League. This has been Trey Ryder. We'll see you guys next week.